Good day, guys. How are we all doing? I hope you're all good. All right, we're going to do a quick analysis for this week, and we're going to get started on C300. So to keep it fast, we're just going to start with a daily for buyers, 4 hour to check for support and resistance, H1 to confirm bias, and M15 for pattern and execution. So C300s, we are currently trading within yesterday's range. Okay, and for the most part, we've simply been bullish. So what we're looking forward to today, we can only sell if price comes below yesterday's lows. That's the safest sell I see. Why I'm saying that is because this price has been pushing up, and most likely the trend or the price might actually retrace back either into the 50, maybe 61.2 areas, or even 38.2. So if we do get a sell for now, I also believe it's going to be a very short-term sell. We also have this order block here. Just pick the market. We've got this order block here where price actually broke and retested, and this could also be a retest for price to actually continue pushing up. So if we do get any sell pattern inside here, it will just be short term and we'll be targeting yesterday's lows. Then if we break with some nice momentum, we can look forward for a continuation, but at the same time, it will still be a short-term sell because price might potentially still push to the top side. So daily, I would classify this as a no bias. Although we're leaning on a retracement, price can still push up. So I would say no bias from the daily. 4 hour, usually if there is no bias, the 4 hour, I usually skip it and just go straight to H1. So on H1, what I'll be looking for is for price to be trading below the 13 EMA for me to actually sell, since this is crashed. So remember, on the crash, we only look for sells, and on the booms, we only look for buys. So we are currently below the 13. Can we get to yesterday's lows? Remember, that's the target right there. That's a possibility if we can get a pattern in there. So based off this impulsive move, price is currently on our optimal trade entry price points. Let's see if we can get a pattern. So on our M15, we've got this lower high in this order block here. So we are only looking for sells if we break this order block. We're only looking for sells right here. So that price point is on 3040. If we can break that, then I'll most likely be looking forward for sells with the take profits near yesterday's low, or at least scale out around today's lows. So if we get something like this, we sell. If we break this area, we hold. Then price will most likely get to this area. For now, I'll say that's my view. What could also potentially happen is price can still retrace back into this broken zone here. You can see here we had this order block. Price was held, then eventually they broke. So now we've got this OB in this level within the same area. So if price can pull back to that area there, that's also a point of interest for sales. But if they do something else, then I won't have anything. So for now, those are my two points of interest. Then going to C500. C500, I've been stalking it for a potential sell. We've got nice TDI divergence there. And I'm still looking forward for price to actually come and break this, for this to become a high probability sell. So for now, my point of interest is this one. Let me actually go to the daily so that you guys can see my view. So on the daily, price has hit this particular level here. Okay, see this gray zone from the left? It's just an order block. So price broke it sometime in May. They've been steadily pushing through this tight channel. I think we've been speaking about this for the longest of times as well. And yesterday we tapped into this gray level you see here. So I'm looking forward for a short-term sell. So bias is a sell. Maybe we can look at H4 for a supply zone. H4 is no supply zone, but I do have this gray zone. I think I picked it up from the 3-hour time frame. If we come below this gray zone, then this setup is going to be high probability. We'll most likely get somewhere here, or at least to the bottom of this channel here. So for now, I'll say safe sells below 4660, and we'll be targeting about 4610 for TP. So we've got about a 50 pip move which we can try to catch if that setup plays out. So H1 trading below the 13, so it lines up with the bias. We still have to break this zone though, which we mentioned from the H4. Then on M15, that's where we've got this lower high and this order block. So I've got this order block here, and I've got this order block here, which actually also is a supply zone on M15. So if price can retrace either into this order block or into this supply zone, I think we'll most likely get our sell. Then if price drops, so we either react here or we react here. If we drop and we break these lows and come below this gray zone, then we can hold because the setup will now be a high probability short-term sell. So I think for C5, I'm going to leave it on H1 so that I can just monitor how price will react when they tap the 13 EMA there. So it will most likely play out, but we'll see. We'll see if it shows signs of playing out. If we get a nice move coming off here, we can also add some positions soon as we come below here in anticipation of the break of this level. Then we can try and hold until TP. If price decides to come back above this level, then the sell setup which I'm seeing right now will be invalid. Then going to C1000. C1000 is currently trading right on the 50 EMA and the 13 EMA, which gives us no bias as well. So for now, I don't think I've got any bias. I can only consider sells maybe if the current day's candle turns bearish. I might consider sells. On the 4-hour, okay, there's a lot of lines here. Let me see if I can remove some of them. Okay, that's a little bit better. So at this point in time, I remember we mentioned this gray zone is just a fib retracement level right here. Okay, so if price stays above this gray zone, we'll most likely get another impulsive move, same as this one. So we got a retracement. We'll most likely get another impulsive move coming up all the way to this level here. And we can only start looking for good sales here. But again, this is the daily, and it will take some time for price to get there. And within that push up, will also be getting possible intraday sales. So for C1, for now, I don't think I've got any setup until, of course, or unless the daily candle turns bearish. So I'm just going to leave this one on the daily so that I can monitor price. Then we go to B5. We've been bearish for the longest of times as well. You can see it's the same pattern right from the peak at the top here. Lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. I think this is most feasible on H4. Right, as you can see, it's a nice downtrend here. So those who sell B5, I'm sure you've been getting some nice trades. But at the same time, those who've been waiting for intraday buys, I'm sure you also got some nice setups there. So for today, if we look to the far left, I feel like price will most likely get to this level at some point. So we're currently trading between this level here and this level on the bottom here. So it's 54, it's 50, 50, 20. And 56, let's see if we can round it up. Okay, and 5600. Price is currently trading within that range. Okay, I think this we might actually round it up to 50.00. Okay, perfect. So price is currently trading within this range here. And we've got a bearish bias. If we are going to buy, the buys which we are going to be taking are short-term buys. So yesterday I actually thought I had a buy. I was looking at this pattern. You can see how heavily marked this chart is. So I was above the 13 EMA. Then I saw this pattern here. So we were coming from the open price, broken order block. So the thing is, I saw it a bit late and it was towards our swap time as well. So I did not execute here because I did not want to pay swap. So by the time the swap fee time passed, I think price was somewhere here. So I decided to take a sell here, but I did not notice this line. I only put it today. So I was looking forward for a push up at least to take out the day's high. But what happened is this setup failed. Price ended up trickling back, took me out, and the bearish move from the daily just continued. So this is also a point to note. If you're trading mainly against a trend, just take small profits, because sometimes price won't get to the levels which you think it might get to. So looking at it today, I think I'll only consider buys if the daily candle turns bullish. So as it stands right now, I don't think I'll take anything there. I'll just delete this. So for B5 and C1 is the same thing. We are just waiting on the daily to show us something we can work with before we can even decide to execute. So I'm going to leave this on the daily as well so that we can just monitor. Then B1000, presuming a bit there, you can see we've got a little bit of a range whereby price came out, took out liquidity, then they came back inside that range, and they've been steady dropping. So let's see if we can go to the 4. So in terms of buyers, actually, most likely we might continue to go to the 15,000 area, because I've noticed we are trading between the 16,000 and 15,000, and we had this huge impulsive move and a retracement. Let's see if the FIB gave us something here. Okay, yes, price got into the 38.2. So I feel like we could be bearish. We could be bearish, especially if we can break below this low here, which is around 15,340. We might continue with the bearish move. But at the same time, price might get held by the 50 EMA and they might decide to push back up here before they come down. So we are also open to seeing buys happening. The daily is currently bullish. We could retrace back into the 13 EMA. These are just possibilities. So let's see if the H4 has got more data for us. Okay, there's a lot of lines here. So what I'm going to do is Let me remove the ones inside. Okay, I'm going to remove this fib as well. Right. So the range I was talking about is this range which we had from last week. Okay, we had this low and we had this high. So for the most part of the week, we were trading within that range. We did not break until we got here. So we had a fake out. We came back below, anticipated price to come back down, but they failed. Price came back above the 13 EMA. So the bullish trend continued. The high was extended. But as the week ended, price then fell back into that same range. So could we get down here? That's possible, but at the same time, price can still push up. So in terms of bias from a higher time frame, we do not have a clean bias here. So we are going to work with the 13 EMA if we want to take any trade. So if we get a close above the 13 EMA right now, I might consider starting to look for buys. We can start to look for buys if we get it close above 13 EMA. But then this H1 candle will only close in about 35 minutes. So it will take some time and a lot can happen within that time. So let's say this candle decides to push up some more within this before this candle closes. We're going to wait for a possible retracement and a possible continuation up. The thing is, we need to get a confirmation around this area. To the left, we do have an order block, so that will act as a guidance for us to actually consider taking buys from that level. If we happen to close, let's say we close below the 13, price might actually decide to continue pushing down, which is something we anticipated from the daily. So for now, I'll say I'm just going to leave it on the H1 and I'll keep monitoring. If I do get something, I'll send my signal to the group and I'll share it with you guys. So again, just be in mind that you see this pattern which is most likely forming here. It might be the pattern which formed here. So we could get a quick push up back to this level before price continues down. That's also possible. So we are just going to leave this on H1 and we'll check it maybe at the close of the current H1 candle to see if there's any setup we can take. Then step index. Price action here is not so clean, but let's see. I would say we are currently trading within this range as well. Let me remove this and use this. So from the beginning of this month, we set these highs. Okay, we set these highs. Okay, it's refusing to do it. Okay, we set these highs here. And we also set these lows here. So let me just make the thickness here the same. Okay, so I would say this is our range for this month. All these other lines to the left, we're going to remove them. But for now, this is the range we are working with. Can we get a setup inside here? Let's see. I'm just going to clear everything out. Okay. All right. So working with this range, this is where we are going to look for setup. So we're going to look for potential buys if price bounces off this area. We're going to look for potential sells if price bounces off this area. But seeing that this is the daily, that might take time if there's less volume in the market. So what can we use? If the daily candle, let's say we close and we leave this imbalance, we'll use it as a point of interest to get more sells or a point of interest to actually get buys. That's if the current day's candle doesn't pass this high. That will leave us with this point of interest. But again, for us to get that, we need to wait for the current daily candle to close. And I feel like until it closes, for now, we do not have any setup. We do have liquidity below this low. So if we tap it, and we have an intraday buy, we can decide to take it. But I would want to wait a bit, so I'm going to leave this on the daily, and I'll just keep stalking. So if price comes below this liquidity, then pushes back up, what I'll simply do is I'll then jump to the M15 and I'll look for a potential buy pattern. So that simply means that price is to come take these lows out and pass below this red line. So if we come below and come back above, then I'm going to look for any potential buy pattern and look forward to take profit maybe around today's highs or any level which might be present to the left. That's how I'm going to approach this. But otherwise, I'm just going to leave it on the daily so that I can keep stalking. Then jump. I feel like it will retrace now. It's been pushing up for quite some time. And we've got this huge impulsive move to the top side. Today's price took out yesterday's high. So from the jump, I had a sell bias on this one. Let's see if my markings are still there. So I had a sell bias and I had this imbalance right here where the gray line is. At that point, price was somewhere here, I think, and they did not come to my point of interest, so I couldn't sell. But I'm still open to seeing price potentially get into that imbalance for a sell. But at the same time, if you look to your left, we've got these lows which are here, and we also have this imbalance which has been created here. So from there, that also acts as a point of interest. Just going to get a straight line. 9484 94845. Okay, so I'll say that's my point of interest. I've got 2 points of interest. If we can retrace into this area and price respects it, I'm going to look for a sell. If we pass it and we can't respect this area rather, I'll still be looking for a sell. So between this area and this area, if any pattern, any sell pattern forms within this zone which I've drawn, then I'll be looking forward for sells. And in terms of a target, I'll simply be targeting, I'm not sure if it's clear, there is a rectangle right here. Right here, I'm not sure if you guys see it. That was going to be my TP if I had taken, or if price had retraced here. That was going to be my TP, but there was no retracement, hence no entry. So if we do get a sell, this gray zone on the bottom is a potential target. But again, we'll see. Because sometimes these guys, they'll just drop without retracing. But if we do get a retracement, we'll actually be looking forward to execute a sell. So that's my view on J10. Step index, we're waiting for the daily candle to close. B1000, we are waiting for H1 to close. B500, selling bias. We are waiting for, if we're going to buy, we need the current daily candle to turn bullish. C1000, we need the current daily candle to turn bearish. Otherwise, these guys might be pushing up. C500, we're waiting for price to get into this point of interest on M15. There is a potential we might drop. So there is nothing wrong with having one runner, a current market price. Nothing wrong with having a runner. And we are open to seeing a break, continuation, or a retest of this zone or this zone. So that's it for C5. So C5 is my only active setup at the moment. C3, waiting for price to either tap into that gray zone right here or break this order block here for me to actually sell. So that's it for me today, guys. I think this afternoon, okay, our free live session is on tomorrow. But again, tomorrow there's a possibility we might not trade New York session because of the US holiday, but we'll see. So I might decide to stream today's New York session. Just try to plug in at 15:30 SA time. If I'm streaming live, if I decide to make it public, I'll let you guys know in the group, then you can plug in and we can trade New York session live. For now, this is it for indices. We just keep stalking. C500 current active setup. one runner with sell limits on these 2 points of interest. And if we continue selling, we look forward to scaling and cashing in on this trade. So that's it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for your time. If you watched until the end, I hope your trading is going well. If you have questions, don't hesitate to hit me up either on Telegram or WhatsApp, and we can share knowledge. So thank you so much, guys, for joining. Enjoy the rest of your day. Good trading.